Hey Kings! Welcome back to Acquaint by Aaron. My name is Aaron and my mission on this channel is to help men journey through our transition into adulthood as we get better acquainted with who we really are. Welcome back and a happy new year to all of you. So early last year I made the brash decision of logging out of all my social media accounts. My reason or premise for even logging out of my social media accounts was inspired by the documentary that's streaming on Netflix now, The Social Dilemma, and one specific line from that documentary kind of struck me. The line said that if you're not paying for the product, then you're probably the product. So my hope with this video is for you to make your own decision whether you feel like you might want to limit your usage or the time that you spend on social media, or quit it altogether and fill your time in with different activities. So let's hop right into the video. First way that my life was different after quitting social media in 2021 is I realized that I was actually a lot more lonelier than I convinced myself that I was. So while I was using social media, a lot of times I convinced myself that by just tapping on the social stories that my friends were posting, I was really being in touch with what was going on with their lives. And when this source of connectivity was completely eradicated from my life in 2021, I realized that hey, I actually don't know what's going on with my friends' lives, and what I was really substituting connection and really being in touch with my friends is by just tapping on their stories and seeing what they were up to. So for better or for worse, I realized that the truth is I'm a lot lonelier than I convinced myself to be, and you could be as well. So that actually prompted me to take action and start engaging in calls or really reaching out to friends that I'm connected to and I care about. Second way that I realized that my life changed without social media is relationships that I was really a part of became a lot more deeper. There were two primary reasons that inspired this. One was now that I wasn't aware of what they were up to or the different activities that they were posting on their social stories. Whenever I met up with my friends or the people that I care about, a lot of times the conversations that we embark on did not have a baseline of the activities that they were in. And I'm sure you realize that oftentimes when you meet with your friends, the first thing that you bring up is that hey, I saw you at this recent event, or I saw that you bought this new watch, or you bought this new car. A lot of times we're conversing about the things that we see that our friends are doing, and without the presence of this connectivity, I just had to really find out like how they're doing and what was actually going on with their life. And more often than not, you realize that what was posted in reality is very much different. The other thing that inspired a much deeper relationship is the fact that while I was conversing, or a lot of times when you're in the presence of your friends, you're busy scrolling through social media, and without anything to distract me, a lot of times the conversations were a lot more genuine and I was a lot more present when I was embarking in a relationship with the people that I care about. The third way my life changed without the usage of social media is I realized that I was a lot happier. See, I know that happiness is not a value that can be easily quantified, but what I realized is that without social media, I wasn't comparing myself as much to my peers or the people that are around me. I wasn't comparing myself to the stuff that they were buying. I wasn't comparing myself to the vacations that they were taking. I wasn't comparing myself to the things that they were doing over the weekend. So whatever it is that I had, I started to become a lot more contented with. I started to become a lot more grateful with the things that I already had, as opposed to comparing myself to how far behind. And a lot of times, sadly, when we compare ourselves, the truth is we're not putting ourselves in a better space. We're not seeing people that might be in a lot of a worse off situation compared to us. We're seeing people that are so far ahead and how far behind we are. So without this presence of social media, I started to become a lot more happier. The fourth way my life was different is I realized that I had a lot more money money to save compared to when I was on social media. So this is tied very closely to my previous point about happiness. Without the usage of social media, I pretty much wasn't aware of like what was the latest happenings in town or what are the latest stuff that people are buying or experiencing, and without knowing, I pretty much could not spend or could not embark in those activities, and I had a lot more money to save. And while I would classify myself as a rather minimalist, the money that I spend comes from the food experiences or the restaurants and the cafes that I visit. So the money that I did spend were on things that I really enjoyed, and that brought me a lot more happiness. But the money that I didn't spend, I feel outweighed the amount that I had spent in the last year when I was actually buying stuff, shoes and clothes and stuff just to feel good about myself because everyone else was buying it. The way that my life was a lot more different without the usage of social media. I don't know if this is proper English, but I was much lesser sexually stimulated as compared to when I was actively scrolling on social media. So let me be the first to say that I am a marketer, and I do realize the powers of social media marketing, and the main advantage of using social media marketing is the capacity to target whichever user that you're looking for. And there's many different ways that I could target you. One, be your geotagging the location that you are in. Two, could be your interest. Most importantly would be I'll be able to target you by gender, and every social media account that you use knows your gender. A lot of times that if you are a guy, what you would realize is that if you hop onto your explore page, out of the many different photos that you see, there will be one or two photos of influencers that are very much sexually stimulated. If I'm going to remove like my very refined tone, you get to see like these big booty models or these models that are barely clothed with anything. And I think a lot of times we don't ask ourselves, why are this content so actively promoted? As a guy, the moment you see one of these photos, you're going to get a dopamine spike in your brain, and you're going to continue scrolling and looking for other content that is around the very similar theme. Truth is, oftentimes you don't just stop there. You end up at some X-rated website, and what I realized is that by removing the usage of social media, a lot of times I completely remove all sexual stimulation from social media, and that kind of led me to a lot more of a happier place as well. So a lot of times we as guys, we're caught in this cycle, right? You're on social media, you see this model, it leads you to another website, one thing or another, you end up in this whole cycle of pornography and masturbation, and you feel guilty about yourself. And I think that among the many things that I would like to talk about today, this was the main way that my life was different in 2021 by stepping away from social media. As aligned with my mission and my purpose with this channel, guys, if you're out there, I would recommend for you to take a break out of social media if you find yourself like being caught in this pornographic rut. Pornography is in no way good for you. Trust me, I know that I've posted other videos about this. So this is one way your life could be different if you decide to just step out of using social media. The way that my life was different is I realized that I had a lot more time on my hand. What I realized is that while I was not on social media, I saved close to 45 minutes a day without scrolling, and the honest truth is most of us spend a lot more time than 45 minutes. But just 45 minutes a day, if you just accumulate and compound that over a year, that's 11 full days that you might have spent on social media. So what I realized is without social media, I had a lot more time on my hands. And the final way that my life was different without social media in 2021 is I had a lot more focus and clarity in my life. So I think a lot of times social media, while it acts as a form of entertainment, it also is a form of distraction, be it at work or the type of things that you want to pursue. A lot of times we're on social media seeing what other people are doing and comparing ourselves to what other people are doing, and we're removing focus on the things that we actually want to pursue or the things that we're actually good at. So while removing social media from my life, I realized that I had a lot more clarity as to who I am, what my purpose is. As I grow into becoming a full-fledged adult as a husband and a father, this gave me a lot more clarity of the type of man that I want to be, and I hope that this inspires you as well. So I just want to leave you with these 7 changes that I saw in my own life after quitting social media. So what's next for me? I know that I've been posting a bit more content on YouTube, but I probably might start posting some content on socials as well, but one thing for sure is I'm not going to start looking at stories or scrolling through social media mindlessly. I think I've seen how my life is different, and I hope that this inspires you to make a change as well. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope that this provides you with some value. I hope this inspires you to really evaluate the amount of time you're spending on social media and the type of value that's bringing into your life. I'll catch you guys in the next one.